Yes. Okay, welcome to Therapeutic Tai Chi and Qigong. I'm Sifu Bryant Fong. Some of you know me. Just real brief history about what I've done or how I ended up doing this. I'm of course a coach for modern wushu, and I began studying both traditional and contemporary wushu in the 1970s. My first trip to China was in 1981, and I began studying Tai Chi in depth with Grandmaster Feng Jiqiang, who was Beijing's top Chen stylist. I eventually was certified as a coach in Tai Chi and in Wushu by Coach Wu Bin under the uh, direction of the Beijing Physical Academy. And so I returned from China, I think in the mid 1980s. In 86, I was a US Tai Chi champion. And then eventually in 89, I began teaching at the University of California. And then right after that, I began teaching at City College. So at City College of San Francisco, I was asked to design a program for health and wellness. So the program that I'm going to teach today is something that we have been using at the City College for the last 25 years. And I've recently, in the last few years, introduced the UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley, I'm no longer the Tai Chi coach. I mean, no longer the Wushu coach now. My job is actually designing a health and wellness program for UC Berkeley. So this is part of the program are using now. So, what have I used? For one thing, because I began from competitive Tai Chi, that's what I started with. Then I found out that doesn't work too good for health and wellness. So please keep in mind, I'm not going to be teaching any forms. So no particular form or how should I say style can give you what you want. And I think that's kind of important to understand. For the purpose of health and wellness, you should use the full breadth of what Tai Chi, Qigong has to offer. And you should understand that Tai Chi is a branch of Qigong, but Qigong is a much, much larger and older category. Tai Chi is actually, in terms of Chinese history, very modern, okay? If you talk about when it began popularized in just in the world, I'm talking about like basically the 19th century it became popular. And then by the beginning of the 20th century, people realized that it couldn't be used as a martial art anymore. The masters then began doing research on how to emphasize the health aspect of Tai Chi. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about different types of exercises and how to do them. Because you've heard all the lectures today on the codes, on different types of, and the relationship between Tai Chi and Qigong. You've heard something about the history. So what I want to do is give you something a little more on, how should I say, on hands that you can actually do. So there's a couple principles about Tai Chi that we need to remember. And I think Dr. Wing talked about it a little bit. Number one, that when one part of the body moves, you must move the whole body. Okay, so Tai Chi is not just, or Qigong, it's just about using one part of your body, but using the whole thing. Number two, you must focus, okay, but you cannot, how should I say, either unfocused, which a lot of people think is about Tai Chi. No, you need to be focused, but also you need to focus on what you're doing at this particular moment. So that's the time and space thing that Dr. Jinky talked about. The martial artist is, or the Tai Chi practitioner, Qigong practitioner, is aware of the present moment only and no other. So you have to empty the mind, but you also have to be focused, okay? The movements, of course, need to be relaxed. They need to be circular. I'm also going to talk about some of the other things that Tai Chi require. Dr. Wang talked about a little bit, but Tai Chi is both hard and soft, fast and slow, internal, external, yin and yang, and open and close. Those 5 aspects make up all movement in Tai Chi and in Qigong. And we will be using those to teach you a little bit about what we're doing. So, for health, one of the important things is balance, is also what? Opening the joints, number 2. Number 3, using the body's own health healing processes, the heal itself. So that means what? Finding ways to improve circulation and move qi. So I need to warn you, qi is not as easy to comprehend as we think it is. Some people, you can feel qi when you stick the needle in and it moves around your body. But where does the qi come from when you're exercising? Okay, so Dr. Wang talked about, of course, the oxygen. So that is one thing. When you breathe in oxygen into your lungs, we call that coarse qi. And then that qi is what? Converted into the qi that moves through your body. But then the other question is, how else do you get qi? Well, of course, you can get qi by eating good food, so that's always good. Number 2, you can get qi from good people to hang around with. So that improves your qi also. Different kinds of qi, if you're getting the idea. Another type of qi is a qi you get from the ground. Now, most people don't realize it, that Tai Chi, the force comes from the ground. The power is generated by the ground. And so we'll talk about when you design an exercise, why must you use the floor? So one of the important concepts to understand is that cardio exercise loads the heart from the front, meaning that you make the heart beat faster to move your blood. Tai Chi loads the heart from the bottom, meaning from where? From your legs up. So unless you're using your legs, you're not improving your circulation in Tai Chi. So that is very important. So I think the last exercise Dr. Wang showed you is very key. That one utilizes actually the force of the ground to move your body. And then Mason's going to demonstrate some of those techniques for you. So you need to have those aspects, number 1. Number 2, you need to have exercises that open and close all the joints, and then open and close different channels and meridians. In terms of the types of Tai Chi that work best, one of the best ones, of course, is Sun style Tai Chi. The reason being what? It's standing up, so easy for patients to do. Number 2, we use only simple exercises that activate the central channel. So, of course, most of you should know the central channel controls circulation, elimination, and digestion, right? This is the Sanjiao. By opening, closing the chest, many of what people require for health can be done just by doing exercises that optimize that. And so I'm going to be taking both Sun style movements and other styles of Tai Chi or Qigong movements and show you how to use them. So we're going to go back to that movement that Dr. Wang showed you earlier. I'm going to do it from Chen style Tai Chi. So how do we do this? I'll demonstrate it once. So I'm going to explain in detail and then he'll take you through it. So a couple of things. When the arms go up, the body goes down. So, and my arms are coming up, my body is going down. Okay. As my hands come down, my body comes back up. My hands go forward, my body is going down. I drop the hand down. Now from the bottom of my feet, I bring the chi up and bring it down. From here, I'm going to raise it back up. The body goes down. As I press down and separate, the chi goes back down to the floor. So if you watch carefully, the entire body has been utilized. And from the side, if you're wondering about that, what I call a unified body motion, it looks kind of like that. Okay, the whole body moves from the floor all the way up and out. So let me have Mason take you through a set of those.
Yeah, we'll do a set. So if it helps to memorize like how many we recommend. Frankly, if people can do even one movement set, that's pretty good. But for depending on your client, who you're working with, your audience, of course, you can vary it based upon their skill level. We, as a purpose of this class, will say you could do multiple of 3. So you could do 3, 6, 9, depending on the specific client you're working with or for yourself. So for now, I'll do 3, just for the time that we have. I'm standing in the position here. Bend the knee slightly. And as you drop your frame of your body, your hands are coming up. They come in. And now you extend out. You drop. Hands come up or out. Back in. Good. And as I drop again, the hands are coming up. So there's a opposite correlation. And as the hands are going down, I'm returning back up. The hands, again, you see separate, they point down, and you're not finished until those fingers return back to that resting position, or we'll call it, for the sake of this class, your Zhangzhong stance in a state of what's called Wuji, or neutral. Okay, so we'll do that again. So as the hands come up, I'm dropping. Come in. Extend out, I drop down. Come back up. Then I drop as the hands go out. Down. Hands come up again. Drop down a little bit. Hands come down, separate, point down. And the third time. This is so that you're engaging the whole body, everything from your feet to the top of your heads and your hands. So that's 3 repetitions in 1 set, just for example. Good.
Okay, so that is one example. Now I'm going to give you a slightly different one. So for this one, we start actually with the hands coming up, facing each other. The hands go forward. Now watch, the hands are going to rotate. Now I add, again, the unified body motion. Okay, as the hands come down, the body comes back up. And now I start again. Again, the hands come up, my body is going down. As the hands go out, my body is coming up, and now hands rotate. I sink, the body comes up, the arms go out, and I start again. So this is called White Ape Presents Fruit. Again, it's a variation of the first movement.
So again, we'll do that 3 times. Let's come up. Out. Rotate the hands. So you'll see that that's one of the major differences there. Out. Down. Up. And again, same thing, return the hands back to neutral position. Okay, so up. Bring the arms in. Notice the hands again, they rotate. They finish rotating the moment they've reached out. And I'm not straightening my hands, the elbows are locked. There's still a bend and curvature here. If it helps to think about how far you should extend for any of these given movements, about 70% is just fine. You don't have to do full extensions for a lot of these movements. So again, come up, down, relax the hands to separate, turn back to your Dongzhong neutral state of Wuji. Third time, come up, relax the elbows so they come in by your floating ribs. The hands are turned over. We're going to make that full rotation so that the hands are up. Now the hands are down as they extend. Notice I've straightened out here. but I bend my knees as the hands go out again. Straighten up. Hands come up again. I bent my knees again. Hands come down. Relax. Good. Something you can do between those movements is you can breathe in. This is called sogong. You bring your hands near the top of the head, your byway. Let the hands come down the center as you breathe out. So we may do that between the different sets or movements. It's a good way to help settle yourself back between exercises. So breathe in and breathe out. Good. All right.
And of course, as you teach patients, you want to kind of encourage them to incorporate that practice also as part of their exercise. Now, we've done some rather more complicated ones. Now I'm going to do a couple simple ones. Okay, the simplest way to do this, but still incorporating all the techniques and ideas that we've talked about during this conference here. Okay, so what do we include now? So I'm gonna still do the same thing, raise my hand, but now I'm bending my knees. And now I straighten forward and send my intention all the way. Imagine I can touch the wall in front of me. And now I push downward as if there's a big pillow here, and then straighten back up. So you see, it still incorporates what we were doing earlier, but now a simpler motion. Why simpler motion? Depends on your patient. So the whole point of this is to show you that there are many ways to do the same thing. Again, depending on the intensity that you need for the patient and depending on their own physical condition. So let me have, again, Mason show you this. This is, again, another variation of beginning Tai Chi.
Yep. So as Steve was mentioning, you want to work with your patient based on what they're capable of. So we're intentionally showing you there was the complex and then you're whittling it down. And the idea is that all of these will still get to the same point. It will all lead you to better health, but you got to choose which is probably the best tool for the situation. So for this one, again, probably one of the more simplified versions. We'll do 3 repetitions. Come up. Relax the elbows. Extend. And then relax the elbows as your hands come down. And again, that's here. And then we're going to relax the fingers, make sure they return back to a neutral stance or your Wuji. That's it. That's all the movement. But let's do this 2 more times. Come up. So again, like you're holding something between your palms. Bend my knees as the hands are coming up. The elbows relax into a natural state near my floating ribs. And then extend forwards. And just relax. Like your elbows are leading the rest of the hands down. As you return back, hands, let the fingers point back down to the floor. Again. A helpful point 2, you can keep your tongue pressed against the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. And you will find, oftentimes people will ask you, how do you breathe? Most important is to breathe naturally. Don't try to force your breath. In time, of course, of doing the exercises, you will find what naturally will match. But if you're starting with someone who has no experience with martial arts prior, just tell them breathe normally and everything will follow. So simplifying it down, easy to remember too.
Right. Generally, breathing, I always tell the student, is the last thing that they should concentrate on. First thing is on perfecting the movement. So for a patient, if you're teaching them, the first thing they should do is master what you're trying to teach them, the movement itself. Then you'll begin refining it. How do you refine it? First, you make sure that the legs and the whole body are coordinated. 2, that when you open, you breathe in. When you close, you breathe out. So that's also kind of important. Third thing is eyes lead your movement. So you're not doing the exercise and looking at the ground, okay? The eyes have to focus on what it is you're doing. Number 4, your intention needs to follow that. So if you're going forward, your intention has to go far before you return. Okay. So that movement that we just did was beginning Tai Chi, but done as a Qigong exercise. So you notice how it's different from most of the time you see people do Yang style Tai Chi, which is you lift up and you press down. For the Qigong purpose, we want how to actually incorporate the whole body as we're doing it. So I've showed you 3 different ways to do it. So we're going to give you a bonus one. Okay, this is again from my Sun style tradition. So it's a little bit different. It combines Tai Chi, Xing Yi, and Bagua. So for this, the hands rotate and I sink. I push into the ground and my arms come up to about the height of my forehead. So you notice the back of my hands are facing each other. And now I relax my knees. See if you can feel the Tai Chi ball here, which is good. And then roll it back and roll it forward. Because you're thinking about a Tai Chi ball, you can actually feel something there because your imagination, your yi, detects the shape. Okay, so I'm gonna have Mason go you through that. Again, this is another version of beginning Tai Chi, but this is a Sun version with Tai Chi, Xing Yi, Bagua all combined together.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so same thing, we'll do 3 repetitions. So you can choose for yourself what you think is the proper intensity or complexity based upon who you're working with. So from here, you're standing in your Dongjong stance. You feel the rotation closing from your shoulders that turns the arms out. So the knuckles are faced in, palms are out. Hands are going to come up as you're sinking. So I bend the knees, come up in the height of your forehead. Relax the elbows. And your hands will naturally make a curvature as they return to this bottom holding stance, like you're holding something in your palms. Then let your hands coast up. Notice I'm bending my knees a little bit here. It's like you formed this circle here. Now, as the hands come in, it's like I'm rolling this proverbial ball towards me. And now the hands are going out. I'm bending my knees again. I rotate that ball out. Bring the ball back in. Turn the palms so that they're kind of steepled. The fingers are pointing towards each other. Clear my renmai or my center line. Goes down here. I reach again that point, just like Dr. Wong was mentioning, near your Dantian center, which is up 3 to 4 points below your belly button. Relax the hands and point the fingers back down. So again, close the shoulders points, that turns the arms. Hands come up, bend my knees, relax the elbows, form the circle, form the top of the circle, rotate in, rotate out. Draw the circle back in. So like you put the hands on top of that circle or balloon that's in front of you, press it down. Relax the hands, return to your sides, let the fingers point down, back into your starting position, your Janjong stance in the state of, again, Wuji or neutral. So 3rd time. See if you can feel something. If you can't, don't worry. Again, these practice says start with trying to get the movement, but in time, you might feel something here, as Sifu said. You might feel kind of like this warmth or this almost like polarity, like when you hold magnets next to each other. And down the center. Relax the hands. And always remember, return back to your neutral state, your Wuji state. Good. And for now, you can so gong. For the sake of curious people who may be curious, in time, it might feel natural to breathe with these movements. But again, breathe normally. But I like to breathe in here and breathe out as I go down. But again, start with keeping it smooth, worry about breath later. Okay, good. Sibu.
Okay, so if you notice, those things all incorporated what Dr. Wang said earlier. You you use the entire body, you use your intention, uh, and you use your breath. All of that coordinated together makes what we do work. So you might ask, I mean, I teach Tai Chi, right? Why would you not teach a specific form? The part of the reason we discovered, and this is from my 25 years of teaching at City College, for general health, generally, most students never remember the whole form. So that's one thing. So teaching a form is actually detrimental to health. So in actual ancient Tai Chi practice, single form practice precedes form practice. So single form practice should form the basis for health and Qigong, because until you can feel it in a specific movement, you won't ever feel it practicing the whole form. So that's why single movement is the key, actually, for anyone who wants to learn Tai Chi correctly. Unfortunately, because of modern times, right? People are in a hurry. You want to learn Tai Chi for health? Yeah, we'll teach you 24. And actually, that's designed for competition, it's not designed for health. But we can use those specific movements. So the next movement I want to use, this is from Sun Style Tai Chi. It's the movement open and close. So first, we're going to start with in this case, we're going to go from simple to more complex. So the simplest one, okay? So you start with your hands at the sides. You bring the hand up again, just like we were doing earlier, beginning Tai Chi, but now we're going to make a change. As I bend my knees, I bring my hands in. So it's about the level of your face. And now, as I open, my whole body is going to straighten. I open the chest, and now, as I close, I sink back into the ground. So you notice my knees are bent. So actually, I push into the ground and breathe in at the same time. So you see my body expanding and I'm straight. And then as I breathe out, the whole body sinks. So keep in mind, this exercise can be done for patients who are seated in a wheelchair. Does not need to be done standing up. But standing up, you get to use your legs, okay? And this has been prescribed for arthritis because it's gentle. It is very easy to do. You don't bend the knees very deeply. How do I know it works? I have arthritis. 20 years ago, they told me I needed new knees. I have not done new knees. I'm still doing Tai Chi. So for me, definitely it works. Something for you to try. But let me have Mason take you through that. This is the movement open and close, Kai He.
Thank you, Siegel. So again, the name of the game here is simplicity, easy to remember. Right? So again, the Sifu said, the treasure there is in the individual parts. Okay? The quality of what you do, not the quantity. Think about it that way. Okay? When you learn your alphabet, you don't start by writing the dissertations or trying to recreate a whole novel. You start with letters. So think of it that way. So start with individual drills. And this is, again, Kai He. Hands come up. Relax at the elbows. Again, very simple. Open and close. For some of you, you might even feel, well, that's really natural to breathe here. Good. Didn't even need me to tell you that. You will feel, your body will feel like where it naturally will want to breathe. So I open and close. For the added details, I like to open my fingers here even. I might even feel that my toes kind of come alive. The top of my head. Get my spine straight, tailbone is tucked in. And then everything comes back into your neutral state. Again, we'll take another one. Open and close. And then relax the hands. Just for the sake again of our exercise here, so going. Breathe, clearing your center. Hands up. Again, good way to end any given exercise and the forms. Okay, Sifu.
So in terms of its application for something like arthritis, the reason this is important is because the opening and closing of the joints allow for you to open the bursas, which are on each side of your joints. They help to lubricate the joint. And so arthritis happens through inflammation of the joint because the joint lacks liquid in it. By gently opening and closing, you're able to draw the liquid from around your body into the bursa, thereby slowly lubricating the joint. And that helps again with its recovery. So Dr. Paul Lam has done a lot of study on that, so you can read about that. He's also online giving lectures. Dr. Paul Lam and I met him in 86. We were in China competing. He was the competitor from Australia, and I was from the United States. But he did 15 years of clinical study. And right now, Sun style Tai Chi is actually the only style of Tai Chi recognized by the CDC for arthritis prevention and healing. Okay, so something to add to your repertoire of things depending on your patients. So now we've just done the small movement, and keep in mind, so if someone is in, their legs are real bad, they can't do it, they can sit in a chair, do the same thing. Okay. The bending of the knees, depending on the patient and their ability, they do not have to go very low. So if you notice I'm doing it, I do not go very low. So now the next way of doing it, however, this is a little bit different. This is bigger motion. And so this is more for someone who needs to work on their stability and strength. So this one is big kai he. So here, I'm going to shift my weight to the right side first, and then I'm going to come back and close to the left side. So you notice I'm shifting my weight here to the right and to the left. And now I can do the same thing from left to right. All right, so let me have Mason go through that with you.
To make it simple, I'll do the right side 3 times, I'll do the left side 3 times. Okay. So here, standing position. Step out. Okay, we'll just start and make it very simple, because even just doing it, singling just the movement itself. And it's going to be on my right side. And again, good posture. Make sure your spine is straight, tailbone. See my hands tucked in a little bit, bend the knees slightly. And have your hands, not like they're touching, but almost like you're holding a large, like tangerine or orange in your hands here to help you give an idea of relativity. And then I open to the left. And notice I shift over towards the left side, and then I close back. My right hand is moving a little bit, but not, of course, as you can see, is nearly as much as my other side is. Again, open, close. Good. Let's try the other side. So I'm going to shift, just bring my hand over here. Very simple. Open. From now the other side. And turn and close. Open. Close. Third time. Good. Relax the hands. And as I mentioned before, you can breathe and Sogong to have a nice cleansing finish to that. Good. That's open and close. Again, different variant.
So now here's another open and close. This is from Yang style Tai Chi Qigong. Again, you're going to concentrate on the chest. So again, by moving the chest muscles, you activate the central meridian. Okay. And so again, that deals with digestion, elimination, circulation. So it can be used for a patient who has any of those particular problems. So first, you have to remember to part of Tai Chi, you have to hollow the chest round the back. Okay, so that's kind of important. I'm exaggerating it so you can see. Okay, but that's an important thing to do. So it's not just doing it like this with the body straight. The body closes here and then it opens. And then it closes. Opens. And now when you close, think of there's a pillow on each side. You're going to press it down. So here you have to use your attention. Here you relax. Don't worry about your intention, just make it big. And now you press down. Also your knees bend as you're pressing down. And then your knees straighten. You come back up. Press down. Okay. All right. So let me have Mason do that with you.
Okay. All right. So again, think of this as a bigger circle that's on more of the vertical plane versus the horizontal, which we just did. So from here, close the chest, round the back, hollow the innards here. Then I straighten as I expand. And again, like I'm pushing those pillows down, let the weight of your arms carry the hands back down. Cross, and begin again. Again, worry about breath later, but for those who are familiar or think they want to try it how I'm doing, I'm breathing in here. And then I breathe out here. But again, that comes secondary. Work with someone who's maybe a beginner. Tell them just try to get the movements nice and smooth. For those here trying it for themselves or familiar, you might find that where your natural breath lays. Good. And so go. Good.
What Mason said is kind of important to remember. Remember, I said the 5 things about principles of Tai Chi. The movement may look all slow and continuous. The movement is continuous, but it's not all slow. So why? This part is faster. This part is slower. This part I'm relaxed. This part I'm not completely relaxed. Okay. There's intention here driving the movement. So the movement may look slow, but it has to again have those 2 aspects Dr. Wing was talking about. Some part of the movement is relaxed, some part of it is not. All Tai Chi has to be that way. And unfortunately, people doing Tai Chi nowadays think that Tai Chi is all smooth, continuous, and slow. That's not true. Tai Chi actually varies in speed and in strength. So some movements are relaxed, the next movement is not. Okay. So I'll just keep that for you to think about. But the Tai Chi principles are very important because that's what makes these movements work. Now, the earlier one we did was what I call open the chest to cleanse the body. The next one, also from Yang style Tai Chi Qigong, this is draw Qi to the Bai Hui, and then from here you lead it down to your toes. So you use the Logong point here, aim that at your Bai Hui. So this is pour Qi into the Bai Hui, and imagine it going through your body down to the bottom. So what do? Here you straighten the legs, here you sink and send it down to the ground. When you push back up from the ground, this is when you come back up, okay? So again, let me have Mason take you through that. This is pour Qi to the Bai Hui.
All right. So pouring Qi to the Bai Hui. Open up. Let's come in. It turns so that, of course, your knuckles are faced more towards each other. And then direct your intention down to your feet before you start again. Up with the hands. Fingers are pointed down. Bend the knees. Maybe I bend the fold of my waist here a little bit here. So again, helps me with my tension going down. But it's not a very big bend. You don't have to bend all the way. The hands, you can see they come around my knees. Then return back to the standing position. So I'll do one more time so you can see me. Back here. Good. It's kind of similar to still going in a way.
So now we're gonna learn two more complicated ways of doing this. So if you have a patient who needs to increase their strength, their range of motion, you can now use the same movement to do that. For instance, we'll show this is opening again the chest, okay, but I'm gonna do it slightly differently. So I relax first, and now as I open up, I arch my back slightly, opening up to the sky, and then I relax. And relax. So now the motion is bigger and requires you to increase your range of motion. So this is from Chen style Tai Chi. And one of the Chen style Tai Chi characteristics is what? The limbs must rotate. We call that the Chansu energy. So by rotating, according to the literature from the ancients, the rotation helps to increase the circulation of the blood, thereby speeding up the movement of your qi through your body. So again, as blood moves faster, it carries the qi along with it. So the two interactions, right, are improved by practicing this motion. So again, you're using the outside opening of the body to help speed up the flow of the energy. Mason, please.
Yep. Oh, see, and if you like, you can, there's a question in the comment, you can read it as I take a look. So, all right, so from here, relax, open up. And again, here, I'm not bending back very much, but I might lift my chin and look up. As I opened up all the channels, you can feel your ribs, and then relax. My hands come in. Do you see how I make this circle here? And then open up again. And come back in. Take your time, don't need to speed it. Good. For now, so go. All right, very good.
So someone asked about yin and yang and what is going on here. Generally, the body is pushing into the ground, okay? Or pushing up off the ground, either way. When you're pushing into the ground has to respond. So for every force, there's an equal and opposite force. As you sink into the ground pushes up against you. It creates energy through your body. And we're using that ground force to actually power your body. So Tai Chi masters say that Tai Chi Chuan is about ground boxing because in actuality, it's not about my arms, it's about the ground. If I make a connection to the ground properly, you can push me all you want, the force just disappears. So as you push, I sink into the ground, the movement expands outward. So there are different ways to apply that ground force, okay? So you're seeing it when we're doing this. I'm using the ground. As I open up, the ground allows me to open. And then I close, I sink back into the ground. The energy moves up and down my body, okay? Now, the next one, this is slightly different. So let me see, this one we wanna Let me think. Oh, okay. So for this one, you're gonna open and close. So you send it down. So now we're going in the opposite direction, right? I open and I close down, sending the chi back into the ground. And again, as I push up, the energy comes up and I circulate it back down through my body. Okay. So Mason?
Okay. All right, over here. Okay, you're standing in position. Cross the arms. You can bend it and start. You can start from this position. Just let the arms hang. I like to do about 3. So 1, 2, 3.
So you can show it the harder way, bend your knees all the way down.
That one? Well, we'll just start. I'll do this one.
No,
And
no.
yeah, I'll do that one too.
No,
So
do that.
1, 2.
I want to show them it the most difficult way.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one difficult way. This is the simple one, but I'm gonna now show you the difficult one. So thumbs up. Push up. So I'm gonna do it from the side so you can see what I'm doing here. Up. But then I sink. Notice my back though. Even though I'm coming down, my knees don't go past the point of my toe. My back is straight. Hands come around. Okay, that's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So
Just show it once.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just so that you know, there are different options on how to do this. But standing your doing position is plenty good enough. But that is a very fair question that was raised there. So remember, yeah, there's going to be some differences in yang and yang energy. For the sake of explaining or working with your clients where you're at, keep it simple and know that the body's always going to have yin and yang in it. But what we're doing is helping you flow, allow the flow to go through your body. So yes, at points you're going to have more yang or more yin.
Yeah, one thing to remember is that we're constantly using the ground. That's the more important part. And using the ground does what? It causes your muscles to contract. As it contracts, it squeezes against your veins. That pumps the blood from the legs back to your heart. It increases the heart efficiency. So for patients who have problems with circulation in the legs, you have diabetes, you have just poor circulation in general, this will help. Also, if their legs are weak, using the legs is important. So again, depends on what intensity you want to have, and that you have to do through your diagnosis to decide what to do. What I've shown you though are variations on special from Qigong Tai Chi and different styles of Tai Chi, how to vary and use those techniques. So next one I'm going to do is Mo Pan Gong. Mo Pan Gong is for your Dai Mai. Okay, this controls your immune system and your Wei Qi. So of course, if that's strong, your body will protect itself. And so in most seniors, the Wei Qi is very weak. So how are you going to increase its potential? So we start with one that is easy for everyone. It's right in front of you. You just imagine there's a barrel here and you're touching it, okay? And you want the patient to think about what? First, my hand, you'll notice, is relaxed here, and now suddenly it opens, and I relax. I open and relax. So it is also acting like a pump. The fingers are opening and relaxing to help pump the chi to my fingertips. The other thing that's happening here, though, I can just stand here and do it like this, but I'm actually shifting my weight to the right, to the left. right, and left. So I'm incorporating every part of my body. My eyes are following my hands. Body, shoulder, waist is turning. One thing to remember, however, do not move your hips. The waist moves, but the hips do not. All right, Mason.
Yep, and then just a reminder, we'll have our break in our 10-minute break before our next session soon. So for now, I'll do 3 one way, 3 the other way. Small bong, or colloquially, you can think about it as like rubbing the basin, like a large wash basin in front of you. You circle the rim. And again, I'll do 3 one way. I'm going to do 3 the other way. So now my hand's going to go from right to left because I did left to right. Don't get too worried about which side you start on, frankly. If you do equal on both sides, you're fine. Again, keep it simple. Easy to memorize. Okay. So again, circle. I'll do another set. 1. And see how I'm shifting. 2. It's just gentle. And again, my hips are staying forwards. I am shifting from left to right, but they're facing forwards. So that's what we meant by you're staying in place. Good. That'll do it for that section.
So again, that can be generally done by anyone. Now, you can increase the intensity and the range of motion. Again, you have to assess what your patient requires. Again, this is for anyone who has weakness in the legs, has problems with their circulation, especially like hand circulation. I have a lot of women students who tell me their hands are cold all the time. This is designed to help improve that. So the next one, this is big Mo Pan Gong, different version of what Mason just did. So how is it big? So it's going to go all the way back, okay, as far as I can go. And now I bring both hands in close to the Dai Mai. Follows my Dai Mai in. And then from the back, I come all the way forward. So you notice the hands are face down still. But when it comes in, it comes into the Dantian area, and then it follows my body around. Okay, so this is the big Dai Mai Mo Pan Gong.
Okay, so again, I'll go from right to left, and then again, we'll have a 10-minute break after. So from here, open. Now I turn with my waist a little, but that way my hips don't have to turn. My hands come across. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now you can try the other side. 1. Hands come around. Again, my hips face forwards, but my waist can turn. Follow the belt meridian that goes across. 2, 3. Good. And very good.
So just to summarize really briefly, any of these movements in Tai Chi and Qigong can be adapted for whatever it is that you can, whatever it is you need. I've shown you going from small to big. Now you might ask, what's the difference? Small motion, it's harder to move and feel your qi. The bigger motion is easier to feel your qi because you're moving large parts of your body. So that is an example of what your outside motion leading your inside qi. Eventually you want to go from what? The big motion to the small motion. But again, it depends on what your patient is. If they can't go big, then you start them with small and they go to big eventually. So it's important that you understand and remember all the things that make up what we actually call Tai Chi. Are you using your legs? Does your movement open and close? Are you actually activating different meridians? Now, the reason we pick Sun style Tai Chi is because it concentrates only on 2 channels, right? This one and the small microcosmic orbit. That's all. Chen style, for instance, is very complicated, so you use many different channels. But for patients, that's too complex. And so you don't want to involve a patient in too much complexity. They need to understand something basic and simple that they can do. Number one, so they have to have success. It actually works. Number two, it's easy to learn. Number three, it's actually evidence-based. So I've used a lot of the Sun style Tai Chi because we actually have data to show that it works. And Dr. Lam has done the initial study to show that compared to Chen style and Yang style, these techniques work better. What I've done is taken movements out of other styles of Tai Chi that I've learned and also shown that they can be used the same way and to give you a range of techniques and you can use. And so the class today, we're going to give you tools of different sizes that you can use for different types of patients. So we're going to take a break and we'll back. And if you have questions, please post them and I'll try and answer them when we come back. Thank you.
Yep, thanks. So we're gonna take our 10 minutes. It's about 55, so let's come back 5 minutes after the hour. Okay. Again, so just a reminder, if you have any questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll do Q&A at the end. So otherwise, we'll get started here.
So what I'm going to do next is something for the joints. As I said, this is part of arthritis prevention and also healing. So generally, when you have arthritis, of course, the joints are going to be not very, how should I say, cooperative with what you're doing. So you usually have very small range of motion and you're not able to move. So I'm going to start with small movement and then go to big. So one of them is for your shoulder and your arm. This is kind of easy to do. You're going to bring the arm up and just slowly turn. Okay. This is easy to do. I'm not going to have Mason do this with you, but you can do that on both sides, okay? Just keep the arm near the armpit and just move the elbow here in a circle, okay? And so depending on the range of motion and whatever the patient has, you need to figure out if that's what they can do. If they can do it, then you start with that first, okay? Now, that's for most cases, but sometimes like you injured your shoulder, you're trying to recover for it. You want something of a bigger range of motion. So the next part you do, you add the legs. The last time, no legs, huh? So here I add the bending of the knees, okay? So remember, you can go forward and also go backward. So as I push up from the ground, my elbow goes back. And I come forward, I'm bending down. And as I push up, the elbow comes back up. Okay. So that's kind of medium range of motion. Okay. Now, for someone who's a little more active, they're an athlete, they injured themselves, they're trying to recover from a shoulder injury. This is a big range of motion. So this is from Chen style Tai Chi. So you watch how big the movement is. I'm going to start with my hand here. And so arm's still here, but as I come down, I lower my hand. It's going to drop all the way down to my dantian. Here, roll all the way back up as far as I can bring it and come back down. And as it comes down, allow this hand to follow your body and come up, all right? And then when it goes the opposite way, the arm starts from the dantian area, comes up, and you come down, and then now from here, you allow the arm to travel back around and come back up and start again. So here, I'll have Mason take you through both of those.
Okay. I'll do 3 one way, 3 going backwards, and I'm going to do the other side. So again, this is more expressive, bigger circling movements. Down, but I keep my shoulder relaxed and down. So when we say bigger, it's relative. Okay. Circle. Good. Now I'm going to do the other arm. Okay. So I went in. I'm going to go now in on this side. So from the dantian, come up, down. And again, I bend my knees, I pump the legs. Those are helping me get my blood from my feet back to my heart. Good. I've done forwards. Now we're going to go out. Okay. So I went this way. Effectively, I'm going to come back. So you can start for your dantian point. So I went this way. We're going to this way. So from the dantian point, bend the knees, come back. So this is going out. You may notice a pattern again. For every movement we're doing, there's an equal opposite. So I try to keep it where I'm balancing the exercise. Okay, so on the topic of thinking about that, yin yang, everything should be equal. Now this one, again, same way. I did this way before, I have to come out. So from here, bend the knees, straighten the knees, the hands go out. So my hands come down to the dantian. Elbow raises because my shoulder's rotating. Good. Very good. Sifu?
So of course, shoulder, neck injuries are most common. So we're gonna do several different types of exercise like this. Next one, instead of opening one elbow, I'm gonna do both. So again, the simplest way is just standing here and just opening and closing. Okay, no legs involved here. Okay, don't want to involve my legs. I can bend slightly. Okay, so that's the easy way. And now, for the much harder way, you open. Now I'm going to bend, cross my arms here, and now watch. I slowly roll my arms up my body, opening the chest, and then closing the chest at the bottom. And again, roll the elbows up my body, elbows open up, opening the chest and closing. So this also activates the central meridian as well as working on your shoulders, elbows, and arms at the same time. So that's going that way. And then going backwards, again, you're going to do kind of the same thing. Okay, so coming back up and down. And then the other way, you come up. And then from here, you roll downward until you reach your knees, and then you come back up again. Here you open, and now you close. So this time you're closing your chest and going down. All right, let me have Mason take you through that.
Okay, so we begin with opening. So we'll cross, open up. Okay. Do 3 times. Good. And now let's try the other way. Come up and close. Cross the wrists, lower the body, bend the knees. So again, this is more like a moderate intensity. I am this one using my legs to bend, but you can tailor for what you need for your clients. Good.
So again, that deals with your range of motion and different levels of incorporating. And again, this can be done also seated in the chair. You do not need to be standing to do it. So seated in the chair, you would just be moving the upper body, okay? And of course, if you're sitting in a chair, what do you want to emphasize? That the patient is using their chest, okay? So even if you're seated, you still want to move the chest, even if you're not using your legs, okay? So there's some pumping mechanism still going on. Without that, the Tai Chi or the Qigong does not work as well. The pumping action is a key part of making Qigong and Tai Chi work. Using your body's, how should I say, to help you distribute your Qi. So that's a very important part of this practice. Okay, so next one, this is actually for your legs, okay? So for diabetes, of course, the stomach and spleen channels don't work. This exercise is meant to help you reactivate those channels. And of course, in diabetes, that's really important. If the channels don't work, eventually the legs get amputated. So circulating qi through the lower body is real important. So now, first, the simplest way is you're using your hands to lead the qi down to your legs. You come to the inside, draw the qi up your legs to the dantian area here. Separate and then bend forward and come back down. So this is not as intense, okay? If you want to do it more intense as I go down, but I go down now, I'm going to bend my knees. And then as I come up, I straighten my knees and I come back up. Well, that is a little bit harder. So again, depends on what your patient can do. But this is a good way, however, to stimulate the circulation of the qi. And I'm going to give you 2 different exercises for the legs. Mason?
Okay. So again, one, of course, was just going from more of a standing position. This is plenty fine for those who can do it. Then, of course, there was going down. You can see me from the side. I try to keep my spine straight, tailbone tucked in. And it's more mechanical movement of intensity. Okay. So I'll do 3 times of just that one. So you can see, since it's a little more exaggerated, you can get an idea of what I'm doing. So cross. The floating ribs. This is again your region of your dantian. Down. So again, I'm doing a little bit more lower. Hands cross as they come up. And your hands are helping lead your qi. You're getting your intention, your li, or your yi, excuse me. And then your yi help guide your qi. So one last time. Hands are tracing the inseam as they come up, across over, rubbing that area. Good. And again, for simplicity's sake, you can even just do 1. So going just to help you move into the next part.
I should mention, as you're listening to this, I hope you are participating and actually doing it yourself. It has to work for you if you're going to use it for your patient. Otherwise, it's hard to have a patient do something that you don't actually do yourself. Why do I say that? These exercises are designed to help you feel your qi. And we're going to give you some exercises later to help you feel your qi, because without the feeling, there's no verification what you're doing is actually going on. So we're going to give you some exercises near the end that you can use to actually activate your own qi and you can feel it. Okay, and so the next one, this again is for your legs. You're going to go down, okay, to the legs, go around the inside. You come up on the inside, up to the dantian. Now from the inside, you do the inside of that leg. Now you do the outside of this leg. And then you do the inside and the outside. So you notice I did not go down too low. If you are able to, you can go all the way down around the toes, come back up to the dantian, okay? Go all the way down around the toes. Now that, of course, is a lot harder to do. So again, you base on what you use, on what your patient is able to do. So again, this is leading the qi through the stomach and spleen meridians.
Okay. So I'll do 3 circuits effectively. Okay. So I'm going to start by pulling in from the outside on the right leg. Down the outside of the left. Come up the inside of my left leg and go down the inside of my right. So I'm kind of making a circuit around the legs there. Come up and down. Again, if you have someone who's curious again about how far they should go, intensity shouldn't be very heavy. And you can vary it based on what we want to do, what your clients to do. Again, this is helping follow the channels that go through your stomach, through the legs. So down the outside, up the inside. And then alternates, go down the inside here, up the outside. That's how you complete the circuit. Okay, so
Now, one final one. This one, again, you can do it in both low intensity and higher intensity. So you're gonna, hands on the outside, you're gonna follow the channel down, bending forward, and then leading it back up to the dantian, circle out, and go down. Okay, so that is lower intensity. You wanna do higher intensity as you go down. When I reach my knees, I begin to bend, go around, and now I push into the ground, I come back up. Okay, that's higher intensity versus lower intensity. Okay, Mason?
okay. So down, let your hands trace the outseam of your pants effectively. Hands go around and then come up the inseam, cross, and repeat. Trace the inseam. Third time. Good.
So this next one, which is interesting, it's called circulating the sun and the moon. My shumei, Grandmaster Feng's daughter, had breast cancer. So her father recommended this for patients who have those kind of situations or are worried about it. So this is called circulating the sun and the moon. Going around, tracing the movement around the chest, closing it down to the dantian, coming up again. So you want to open the chest, massage here, coming back down, and then open and down. And the other way is circulating the opposite way. Again, the movement needs to be big to get the circulation going. And so, of course, one of the reasons for cancer, according to Chinese medicine, is stagnation. So both pain as well as something like cancer is caused by stagnation of the qi in the blood. This helps that with the circulation, and hopefully as the blood begins to move, it will help improve or also prevent cancer from happening. So Mason, circulating sun and moon.
Right, circulating sun and the moon, you would try it together. So same thing, 3 one way, 3 the other way. So I'm gonna go up and down. So again. It's going from out to in. Now I'm gonna go from in out. Come up. Circle, down. Circle, out. Oh, as a courtesy, just remember to make sure you're muted, just so it doesn't take over feedback tonight. But otherwise, Sifu.
Again, this next one is also about circulation. So this is for the daimai. Earlier we did mo pangong. This is a kind of a variation on it. I like to call it washing the tiles. So small washing the tiles, you can just stand up. For instance, this is the right hand goes, the left hand goes under. The hands are moving in the same direction, but not at the same time. Okay. And opposite is the same way. So this is washing the tiles. I tell students it's like washing the tiles when you're playing mahjong. Okay, same movement. So let me have Mason take you through the small one first.
If it helps to think about it, both hands are coming in. They're both making circles that effectively come in. The timing is different. This one's in, this one goes out and in. Okay. But again, one hand's going to pass under the other. Okay. So from here, this hand goes over. This hand comes under, around. Okay. Effectively, again, you can go the opposite direction. This hand comes in, this hand then follows, goes under. It's a small washing of the tiles. Again, effectively, both hands are making circles in. It's just that one is starting at the outmost position, this one starts at inmost position, and they end up crossing. That's how you make that movement. Okay.
So that is the washing the tiles kind of a small. Now for bigger, we're gonna start higher and make it bigger. You have to engage what? The entire body as you're doing this. So you notice even my body even bends back in order for me to do this motion. You can arch your back slightly if you want, but the motion of this is very large, okay? Mason, large, washing the tile.
Okay. So right hand, I'm going to start on this side if you're curious. And then the left hand goes in. Same movement, but bigger. But keep again, your back straight, tailbone is tucked in. So even if you're moving backwards to accommodate the movement, I'm not arching my back like this. I am folding, I bend my knees, fold my my waist here. And that pivot point, you see how my spine is straight as I turn. If you wanted to incorporate that, depending on who you're working with, that's a proper way of bending that back. So come back. So again, that's the right hand. Now I'm going to go the other way. But you can see from this position, if I went this way, now I'm going to alternate. My left hand comes in and my right hand's going out this way. So circle, open. Like we discussed earlier, try to see if you can match. Have a balance of your movements. Okay. You go one way, try going the other way too. Good.
So these movements are from Chen style Tai Chi. They require coiling, and as I said, coiling and spiraling helps to activate and move the chi quicker through the body, thereby improving circulation. Now that was as Qigong. This one is as a martial art Gong. The movement is smaller and shorter. And it's also, if you notice, much higher. So here you notice the hand crosses my face. Again, my body bends back slightly and I come forward again. Hands are face down and now they both turn face up. This hand ends up here like you're holding a pie plate. And again, goes back in and turn. Left side, same thing. And again, the body closes and the body opens. Close. And as it opens, it crosses my face and it chops forward. Okay. So again, a third way to do this, requires a little more range of motion, a little more, how should I say, able to use right and left side. So it's good for the mind. It trains, again, both sides of the body. So I'm going to have Mason take you through, again, washing the tiles, but on a martial art level.
Right. Now, you can think about this one's the most intense of the three. Help, your starting hand can be out. So my right hand is out, my left hand goes under, open. And I end up in the position where this hand's now behind the ear, this hand is out. Turn the palms. And repeat again, this hand crosses the face. So they turn at the same time. They open up. And they turn back over. Good. So that's the right side. Try the left. My left hand's out here. Right hand's here. Right hand comes under. Open the left hand and the right hand at the same time. So you notice both hands are down, both hands are up. Good. So that's a more complicated, complicated method of doing washing the tiles.
Okay, so we're gonna go from here to Yang style Tai Chi. This is often called Eagle Seeks Its Prey. Again, it works the shoulders, the arms, the wrists. So the simple way is just comes up and it turns over. Okay, important thing is here, the arms turn, you bring the arms up, the backs of the hands are here, and now hollow the chest around the back, and then you open. Okay, again, you're breathing in, breathing out. And you can incorporate the knees and straighten. Okay, so let me have Mason take you through that first. This is a smaller range of motion.
Okay. Hands out. As I bend my knees. As I strain, my hands are coming out. They return. Turn. Good.
Now a more active version. It's going to start higher. So it starts from here. So you shoot the hands out and it rotates. You also notice my whole body is now engaged in this movement. I push up, the hands go out. I sink, the hands come back. Out and up. Important is bring the elbows up and then push the hands up. From here, push it up. All right, let me have Mason do that with you. Eagle seeks its prey.
Okay. So again, you can start, you can see relative to my face from here. Now, notice as I did this, the shoulders don't just launch forwards. They turn and that moves everything else, like a kind of like a whip out to the end of your fingertips. So it's important to keep in mind as you're in the movement.
And again, from Yang style Tai Chi Qigong, this is Big Bear swims in the ocean. So think about swimming, right? Like you're doing a swimming stroke. So you're breathing in, breathing out. Now it can be done with no leg movement at all, okay, as I'm doing it right now. Or you can incorporate a little bit of movement. Okay. And then we'll talk about a more complex way of doing it.
Okay. From here, open up. You extend forwards. Rotate. And again, you rotate, feeling from your shoulders as you extend. So again, open to the side. Notice the wrists stay straight, aligned with my arms. Okay.
Yeah, one thing to remember, which can be a mistake when you're teaching it, do not allow the patient to curve. you're not bending your wrists. If you keep doing that, that causes repetitive motion injury, and you actually injure the patient. So keep in mind, there is a right and wrong way to do any of these movements. So now I'm going to go to the big bear. You want to increase the intensity for your student or your patient. You can, instead of just doing in a John John position, you can move forward into a bow stance. And now my weight is in front. And now I do this movement. I sit back slightly, come forward, sit back, come forward. Now I can do the reverse movement in the same way. The eagle, you can do it again from a bow stance. So I'll let Mason take you through that.
So again, ramping up the complexity based upon who you're working with. So your client's going to want something that's a little more, lack of a better word, martial. You can reach into the roots of what Tai Chi is there. So from here, this is eagle seeks spring. So again, I'm doing more of a shifting as I go from the back leg to the front. Likewise, if you want to think about it, you can also do the other side, other leg. Same movement, just alternate on the other side. Good. And then, same thing, where big bear swims the ocean. You can see, again, what we're trying to equip you with the tools is something that has an equal opposite version. So you have a full, holistic, balanced set of techniques that you can prescribe based upon who you're working with. Again, we'll switch here. Shifting from the back leg to the front. And it's very gentle. 55 to 45% of your weight between the two legs is plenty. Doesn't have to be very dramatic.
Now, so most of what we've done is what I would call stationary Tai Chi Qigong. Generally, you're standing in one place. The unique thing about Tai Chi, however, is you can also be doing moving meditation Qigong. And so I'm going to take things now from Sun Style Tai Chi, because these are relatively easy. Anyone can do. So you're going to start with your feet apart. We're going to do the basic movements that we've done already. So one is raising the hands up, okay, like we did beginning Tai Chi. But now you bring it in, open, close, okay? And now you empty either foot, it doesn't matter. You're gonna put all your weight on one side. You're gonna step forward and come forward and push out. Then reach, and again, use your intention, reach as far as you can. Now, center all the weight on one side, step back, and return to Jiangzhou. And now you can repeat the movement now using a different foot. So now if you step with your right foot first, you can now step with the left foot, push forward, step back, and return. All right, I'm gonna have Mason take you through that.
All right. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do the same side 3 times and then the other side 3 times. Now, what we were trying to get out of there is that in this position here, all my weight's on the leg that's going to follow afterwards. So known as your follow step. The leg that my weight is off of is the one that's going to move. So step with that empty step, or in the one where the weight wasn't. Once the foot is there, then you transfer the weight into the front foot, and you can then follow step. Keep a note, that other foot that I'm touching the ground with is not the toe. It's the ball of the foot. Okay. Extend. Back down. Again. So same side. This is not alternating. I'm just doing same side 3 times. Good. And the other side. So now my weight's on my right leg so that my left can move. Heel, toe, connect to the ground, then shift the weight as you move forwards. That sure-footedness, that's practice of how you're stepping, again, hopefully should help offset set any chance of falling. Okay? This is how you know how to do your Tai Chi step. I don't move into that step until the foot is in a position where it can hold my weight. Good.
So I picked this movement specifically to work on what? Your stepping. Is to teach a person how to step properly, meaning that my weight is all on one leg, I put my foot down, there's no weight here yet. Until I'm ready to shift it forward, and as it does that, I bring my back foot up. Why is that important? So that you don't stumble and you're able to what? Control your balance at all times. And so that is an important skill to learn. And Sun Style Tai Chi deals a lot with movement like that. So that's movement forward. We're going to do movement sideways. So of course, we've talked about wave hand like clouds, right? Everyone's familiar with that. So a couple things to remember about all Tai Chi. The hips do not move, the waist moves. Okay, so while I'm turning, you notice my waist is turning, my hips don't move. Okay, that's important. If you move the hips, you impact the knees. And so if they have arthritis, that's not going to be really good. So in teaching something like this, you have to tell them to control the legs, use their waist. And again, that activates your daimai, good for your immune system, improves your circulation. Now, that's standing still. We're going to practice it. 1, 2. On the third, you're going to step out and step back. Again, weight on one side, this side is empty, step out, and now shift your weight and come back. And then now 1, 2. Again, my upper body is turning, the hips are not turning. Okay, the knees are slightly bent. Okay, so Mason, wave hand like cloud.
Okay. So you can think about it as well. The hand that's up is the hand that's going to be leading out. The left hand goes to the left side. Right comes back, and now step. There's about a fist's width of distance between the feet. They're not feet together, so there's a little space there. Good. Now we try the other way. So it's 1, and then 1 the second time. Good. So effectively, again, you're staying stationary for 1, then you move for the second and the third. And then again, going back the other way, stationary 1, step on the second one, step on the third one. You're back where you start. Okay, simple.
So if you're doing this for PT, my PT doctor recommended what? Putting a band between my legs so that I have to push against the band as I step. So that's one way you could increase the intensity of this particular movement. But I recommend doing it without that in the beginning, just practicing the stepping, which will help with stability and everything else. Now, another movement that is part of the basic Sun form, which is important to is single whip. So we're going to do a simple version of the single whip, which is going to breathe in. So you start from here, breathe in. So I'm bending my knees. Breathe out, you push, the body straighten, and now hollow the chest again. Relax, spread it apart, and now sink. And then slowly bring the hands down again. And then bend again, come back up, turn the arms over, push out, separate. Okay, so I'll have Mason take you through that. This is the standing version of the single whip.
From here, hands come up, extend out. And then again, the chest opens, that splits the arm apart, and sink. Second time, And last time. So this is a upright standing position of single whip. Very good.
Now, again, if your patient can't do that big range of motion, you can just do the first part, which is coming up, pushing out, returning. Okay, very simple way again to do the same exercise. You'll move the chi in the same way. Okay, so that's another one. Now I'm going to have Mason show you the one that's in the Tai Chi form. Okay, this is the martial movement. Okay, where you come up, you push out. I put all my weight on this side. I step out, I separate, and I shift my weight to this side. So there's a little more weight on this side than the other side. Okay, so this is Dan Bin, the single whip from Sun Style Tai Chi.
And again, I'll show you both sides. So come up. As you push out, step, and then separate. Open, sink, relax the elbows. Again, keep your spine straight, tailbone is tucked in. Come back in and down. Just do the other side. You can alternate for this one for the sake of time. Push out. As I separate, sink. Good. Okay. So push out, step out. Back in. And let's do this one. Sink. And again, my hips are facing forwards. I can look at my other hand, my left side. My weight's a little bit more on my right leg. And down. Okay.
So you'll notice these movements all require a certain amount of concentration. Concentration and focus are essential for the proper practice of Tai Chi. So I'm going to introduce one last movement. This is the Fair Lady work shuttles. But this one is a little complicated. So it requires what? The mind of your individual to be focused on what they're doing. Because if you're not focused, you'll lose track of which hand to move where. Okay. So in this case, the right hand is on top. Okay. I'm going to circle to my left. I'm going to bring it back to my right, and now I go to my left. I drop the left hand on top. I go to the right, back to the left, and now the other hand comes up. So this is Fair Lady work shuttle. So this is more complicated. For someone who's beginning, who may have a hard time remembering which hand to place, you can merely go 1, relax, 2, relax, 3, relax, 4, relax. So that's a simple way to do it. But I'm going to have Mason show you the complicated way. Again, this is good for people who are beginning to have some signs of dementia, to help them focus and begin to develop, again, their cognitive understanding of what's going on and getting touch between the mind and the body. So Mason?
Yep. Fair Lady works the shuttles. So my right hand, again, this is the more martial version. So right hand's inside, left hand's out. So rotate, push. Now my left hand comes on top. Rotate and push. Now my right hand's back on top again. Effectively, you're crossing your body. You're firing both sides of the body. So very good, especially for maybe people who are recovering from stroke as well, trying to get part of their brain activated, get connection back to the neurons in the ends of your fingers or into your feet. Okay. Notice my hips are facing forward still, but I can turn with my waist. That facilitates the rotation there. Good.
All right, so just to review one time for the complicated one, your right hand's on top. I go from right to left, comes back to my right, goes up. Left hand is on top. It goes from left to right, back to the left, and comes out. So as you can tell, that's a little more challenging. Again, depends on the ability of your patient. Now, I've actually given you all the tools from Sun Style Tai Chi. You can actually put together the entire form with what we just showed you. I'll have Mason do that with you just at the end to show you how you can link together all those things. But the key thing here is to remember, you start with single form, simple exercises in terms of therapy and in terms of what's able for a patient, and also it may be a senior, someone of advanced age, easy to learn. So I'm going to spend the last few minutes here talking a little bit about the Tai Chi ruler. So this is a specialty of my own. I was Grandmaster Feng's student. And oftentimes when he was teaching me this, he would tell me, don't show anyone this, you go to the corner and do it. Okay. I returned to see him in China in 2000, and he told me, okay, we're going to have to pass this out to the next generation. So please begin teaching. So why the ruler? The ruler originally was used by the Taoist monks to teach acolytes how to meditate, how to breathe, how to control their motion, breathing, and their intention. So you notice that there's a notch in the middle. This is where my focus is. And so it helps the basic student to focus. What they don't realize is as they focus, they're able to actually empty the mind. And by focusing, they're able to actually get into a meditative state. Okay, so that's why we do it. It's very hard to tell someone to just stand here and empty your mind. They don't know what to do with the mind. Okay, here the mind is focused. After a while, and you focus long enough, you will learn when you're doing your exercises to actually focus and shut everything out. But also keep in mind, the state of meditative meditation for martial arts is different from Qigong. It's also different from meditative classes like they do for yoga. Tai Chi and Wushu meditation requires that you not only the mind be empty, but the mind is also aware of everything at once. So that's a different state. We call it Mushin, which is a highest stage of cognitive awareness, meaning that while I'm focused on something, I'm aware of everything around me. So this helps you to learn how to do that. Other thing is, as I move the ruler, I must use my breath. So we're going to do a couple simple exercises. These can be done with any kind of patient. The simplest one, and Mason will talk about why he's been doing this. So this we call Dao Qi, pouring your qi. But this is a simple one. All you do is think about this being a liquid and you're pouring the qi into the other side. Now, you can just simply stand here and move just your hand. But I also am what? Sinking into this leg, and now I'm sinking into the other leg. So my legs are doing this. I'm pumping the energy again from my legs back to the heart. I'm improving my circulation as I do this. And I'm focusing here to help my mind relax. Okay, so that's the simple one. And I'll have Mason take you through all of those. The bigger one is much bigger. So here again, all my weight is here. I lift it up. All my weight is now on the other side. So this is pouring qi. Okay, Mason, please.
All right. So in this position here. So this is Dao Qi. So bigger movement again, starts from here, comes over. And it's like you're holding a rain stick. You're feeling the weight of the object in the hand, push down on one side and the other. Okay. So give a moment, allow for the the sensation that you're feeling effectively of the object that you're holding here be transferred through your body down to the floor. Okay. Again, the smaller version, especially for those who may not have the coordination for hand-eye, or again, maybe dealing with recovery from things like stroke or just injury, shifting from one side to the other is fine. And a household object that works in place of a fancy Tai Chi ruler is like a rolling pin or a wooden spoon, or even a rolled up newspaper with a rubber band holding it. Okay. And this is also a way to still go with the ruler. Bring up and circle down.
So now we can do all these movements that we learned earlier actually with the ruler. So for instance, we can do Mo Pan Gong with the ruler. Right? Okay. And now, why are you using a ruler? It gives you a weight. This gives your mind focus, and also the mind is able to what? Feel the sensation. And why is that important? Because that sensation will eventually lead you and help you feel your qi. So that's one of the reasons we do it. The weight you feel, right, allows the mind to associate the movement with the shifting of your qi. And so eventually you don't need your ruler. You can do this, feels the same way. All right, let me have Mason take you through that.
Okay, so Mo Pan Gong, so circle. The same thing as like before, but this time, as I mentioned, you can hold the ruler here. You're pressing the ruler against the palms of your hands, but gently, you're not forcing it. Just enough so you hold it between your palms. And you can do the other way. So it's just like we did with washing or rubbing the basin. But this time you have an object here to help facilitate, give you an analogy for what that qi between your hands will be.
So that gives these motions sensation. So now, for instance, you can do beginning Tai Chi, right? So that's doing it with a ruler. Okay. A patient can't do that. They can just do what? Lifting up, coming back, push down. So as they lift up, they bend their knees. As they push down, the body comes up. So that's a simple version and the complex version. Mason?
Okay. For sake of time, because we are coming up to the end here, just do this simple version. Up and down. Again, it comes up, down. Good.
Okay, and now we did open and close earlier, so we can do this also with the ruler. Simple one. You breathe in, I open, and now I close. In and out. Again, you use the legs, you bend slightly, and stay. Now, again, you can do it sitting in a chair, but again, you emphasize for the patient, you use your chest. So your chest has to hollow, chest has to close. Okay, so you open, close, and then open. Okay, so here I have Mason do that with you.
Okay. So out and in. 4 again. Expand forwards. Turn back to your same position. Again. So there's an out and in. Good.
So patients that have to think too much. The ruler helps to take all those things out. Where do I focus my mind? How do I empty it? How do I breathe? All of it is built into the ruler itself. So it's a very dynamic thing that you can use with patients. Now, next one, Qiu Gong. Think about rolling a ball. Again, good for coordination. And you get a little more advanced. I'm shifting my weight again. It's on my right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. Reverse, same thing. Right, left, right, left. So Mason, please.
Rolling the ball. Other thing, for coordination, try to keep the center of the ruler where it is. So if you're seeing the ruler effectively, that center stays as like the axis point or the rotation point. Okay. Now reverse. Again, rolling the ball. And again, if some people can't hold it here, you can also show them just by having your hands underneath it. Again, varying the exercise based upon who you're working with. Okay.
So I'm gonna take one final one. This is wave hand like clouds, but it's a little bit differently because you're holding a ruler. But yeah, you'll start with a ruler and come across the body, turn it over. So this requires coordination here. Use the body turns, the ruler follows. At the end, I sink into the ground, turn it over, bring it across, and bring it across. So this is wave hand like clouds.
Okay. All right. Burn. And turn. So again, time flies are having fun. If you're curious about more about the ruler, you can definitely reach out to Dr. Wong. Let us know if you're wanting to learn more about it. Send us an inquiry over to them for info with College Tai Chi. But for now, yes, the recordings we've been told that will be available for those participating. So you can ask out later. But again, Sifu,
Yeah. So I have a final thing. This is something that we did in Beijing when I went for took my students with me. This was introduced to us in Beijing as part of a exercise used in Bagua is include your wrist strength. And so this one is made, however, with just a piece of wood. You can increase the intensity of it by adding metal rings to it to increase its weight. But the purpose of the wood, help you coordinate the movement of the wrists, arms, and to also bring it back up. Okay. This increases both wrist and arm strength. Simple for someone to do. So you can use this as a way, as a way of like the ruler. You can connect something to the ruler like a bottle or something, and then wind it up and down. So these are exercises that can be done. So again, this is another way to use the ruler. A little more complicated, and you'd have to make it yourself, okay? I had this made by someone for me, and it's a good way, again, to develop the wrist strength. You will find out that if the student doesn't have strength, even 10 of these is really hard to do. And yes, you can do it without the weight. You can just do it with the ruler itself. Good idea. So you can take the ruler itself and just practice rolling it back and forth. So that's forward, right? And then roll it backwards. Okay. That also is simpler, easy to do, something that a patient, again, who may be recovering from a stroke can do. Another thing they can do with a ruler, you can hold the ruler and just relax. This increases the range of motion of the brachialis and the bicep. And so it's good for increasing your range of motion and improving the strength of the biceps. Okay. So it's real easy to do. Now, the final one for this, I think, is really important. This one is based on a study done by the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic used a tennis ball to squeeze. And so they found that if you squeeze a tennis ball for a minute on each arm, so about 2 minutes altogether, you can lower the blood pressure of the patient. So this has already been tested by Mayo Clinic. So I found another way to do that using the ruler. So what you do is you grip the ruler. So my lower hand grips it tightly. The upper hand turns. Okay, so you watch my upper hand rotating and rotating out. I don't know if you can hear it. You can hear how tightly I'm holding the ruler. You can hear it turning in my hand, okay? So I usually tell students do it between 18 and 20 times. That's about a minute. So on one side, and then you switch to the other side and do the same thing. And like I said, about 18 to 20 times. So there's a couple of things about that. One way is just to twist the upper one. Okay, that's the easy way. So you twist here and you just bring it back in and you twist again. What I like to do is as I twist, I'm holding the top one. Now I tighten the top one and I twist the lower hand. And now the upper hand and now the lower hand. So both hands, the muscle is getting worked both ways. But again, depends on your patient, what they can do. Mason, you want to
Yeah,
demonstrate
To
that?
answer also the question at the same time as I do this, is that you want to choose the intensity. So there's no risk of RSI if, of course, I am going an appropriate level for me. So I'm not trying to twist out and I'm not trying to do a quick motion. I keep instead an intensity of how much I'm gripping and I'm alternating the wrist. The top hand was rotating and now the top hand stays stationary as the bottom hand is rotating in. So just like in Tai Chi, why it's low impact is because it's intensity. I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody right now. I am instead trying to work on grip strength and also coordination between my right and left hand. And likewise, I can do it the other side. The whole point of that is like what we mentioned in this session, is that you need to choose a appropriate level. Kind of like what also was said in the earlier sessions. Fit. Like what's your fitness goal? What is you're trying to work on? So I am generally going maybe only about like 70% of what I can actually do. And that's plenty. But that's more important is the consistency of what I'm doing, not the intensity. In fact, again, that's the idea. You want to keep more moderate.
So the key to all this, there's a couple of keys to remember. One is that you have to feel the qi, okay? So we've tried to give you some exercises to feel the qi. And all of these are meant to, as you practice them, you can eventually begin to feel actually an energy field between your hands. So I'll give you one last thing to help you concentrate on your qi. You concentrate qi in your hand, you turn it as fast as you can. About 40 to 50 times. Now bring your hands together, but don't touch. And now move the hands back and forth. You may experience something between your hands. If you do, you're feeling your Wei Qi, okay? So when you finish practicing, this movement should be stronger than when you began, okay? Because we've concentrated the Qi so that you can feel it. Now, slowly circle. Again, can you feel something in the middle of your hand? Okay. And then now reverse the direction, same thing again. Okay, a third thing then. Can you feel the qi expand and contract? Kind of like a rubber band. Or someone described it as pulling molasses. Of course, I've never done that, so not sure exactly how that feels, but it does feel like a rubber band. Again, you may or may not feel these things. Each person is different, and so how you experience the qi may be different from what I experience. But the question is relax and see what you feel. The feeling is essential if you're going to have the patient feel that this is working. They have to have some way to verify that they are feeling the energy. And how do you do that? Through these practice, you should be able to feel the energy as you do it. So that's why I say practice yourself first so you can feel what it feels like. Now, for instance, here, my forearms are real tight from the last turn with a ruler. All of a sudden, my arms feel extremely heavy as I'm lifting it. That's because all the qi and blood are in my forearm. As I lower it, I feel all the stuff rushing down to my fingertips. So you can feel the result of what you've done. And that's an important part of Tai Chi and Qigong. I actually ask a lot of students who practice Tai Chi, do you feel anything? And they don't. Why? Because the form is too complicated for you to be able to feel the Qi in every single movement. And the transition may make it hard. So that's why we teach by single movement to allow you to actually experience the Qi first. So when you do the form, you'll feel it. So now I'm going to have Mason link together all the things we learned together with Sun and show you a more advanced level of applying Tai Chi to health.
Thank you. This will be the last thing. And again, I'm only going to do it once. So again, recording later will be helpful. But if you're curious about what it is known as the Sun 6, very small amount of movements. So starts with a salute. Just to cue you in. Very simple, short form. All the movements we did already. Beginning Tai Chi. And then the same one we did for the Sun opening. And we showed you at the beginning of our time, circle. Rotates in and then out. Down. Hands come up. Just like we showed the step forwards with the right foot. Step forwards. Open. Close. And I'll back up so you can see my feet. Sink. And a single whip. I come in. Wave hand like clouds. 1. 2. 3. And then my hand's going to come here. This fair maiden works shuttles. Okay. Now from here, block.
Oh, no.
Yeah, don't do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The basic one. Wave hands.
Yeah. And then just wave hands back the other way. 1.
Just the 6.
Yeah. 2. 3. And then fair maiden works shuttles here. That's it. Comes in. And down. Okay. That is a very basic Sun 6.
So that is similar to what Dr. Paul Lam has done. This is, of course, my own choreography, adding a little more complexity to it. And this is only one of the short forms that the Paul Lam uses in his basic Tai Chi for therapeutic and clinical use. There are more complicated versions of this. There's a 6, there's a 12, and then he actually teaches a longer forms. I have used some of that, and as you can see, the method that I've used to teach it is by breaking it down, practicing movements separately, because until you can experience the Qi in these single movements, trying to link it together and try and remember the results, how should I say, keeps you from actually feeling what you're doing. And so I think that's one of the major important things about teaching it for PT or for any other medical use. The patient has to experience the Qi themselves. And once they can do that, that does what? Encourages them to continue to practice because they want to go back and get that feeling. So we tried to give you ideas and also different ranges of motion to help you be able to meet the needs of different types of patients. So a key thing again to Tai Chi is you have to feel the Qi because we cannot measure it, we can't see it. This is the only real proof that you have is how you feel it. So that's why the other thing is you have to experience yourself. There's a saying in China that you cannot tell if it's an apple if you don't take a bite. Same thing for Tai Chi. You have to try it yourself before you can evaluate it, whether it works or not. What I've shown you is based on my own experience, and it works for me and students that I've done it for. So please use it. If you have questions, please make sure you ask. And thank you for joining us today. And I hope we will see you again in your journey to add Tai Chi to your profession. Thank you.
All right.